A lot of people see science as the only kind of bulwark of objectivity in the world, and the only source of truth, and only source of facts, and the only reliable source of knowledge, and they would see art or beauty as being entirely subjective, and religion sort of falls into that category of subjectivity, and so maybe there are people who can appreciate the beauty of religious music or architecture, but the claims of any religion they would dismiss as entirely subjective. And having studied scientists for about 10 plus years now, I mean, even most scientists don't see things that way. A lot of scientists recognize that they themselves are driven by passion, driven by the beauty of the reality they want to understand, and they don't see the business of science as being about generating truth. They rather see themselves as being on a quest for understanding. Understanding is fallible. It's always provisional. It needs revision, and so truth they don't see as something in a dogmatic sense. In fact, they think that that's actually bad for science, because then once the scientist changes their mind, people go, "Aha! You didn't know anything at all. Can't trust you." And so and then the other side of it too is that presenting a picture of science as being just purely objective, or scientists as sort of being unemotional and so on, are they're misleading, because there's a lot of subjectivity in science and the scientific process, and it's also, as I want to argue from the research I'm doing, science itself is a quest for beauty. It's a quest for the beauty of understanding, grasping a deeper sense of the mystery of how things are, which only opens up new mysteries. So that kind of reductive view of science is a problem, and also the kind of separation of beauty as something purely subjective is a problem, because then you don't really recognize that that there is something about reality that pulls you out of yourself. It's not just something you make. It's not just something you impose on reality, but it imposes on you in some way. And so I think that the church offers us a way out of these facile dichotomies between subjectivity and objectivity. I think it gives us a way to recognize that at the heart of all things is a mystery, is a presence, and our understanding of reality is driven first of all by that presence attracting us to itself or to himself, and we have that capacity, which we shouldn't. I mean, there's no good reason for us to be able to measure the rate of inflation of the universe. I mean, it's completely useless for our functioning on this planet. And yet we can do that. We have this capacity. And what does that mean other than some kind of invitation on the part of reality to disclose itself to us, right? So the church, I think, offers us a way to see all of our existence as a gift and a reality, and its affordances as a gift, which is an experience of beauty for us, and also draws us to love reality and to live it more fully. Clearly, there are a lot of claims that the church makes that from a purely scientific point of view seem like nonsense, right? The virgin birth, or miracles. I mean, and just the claim that miracles can happen, that there can be sort of ways to defy the laws of nature and so on. So that's not an easy thing to answer in very quickly, but I think that the challenge for a lot of people, what people who are sort of very secularist scientists, those who've written off any possibility of there being a sort of non-material realities, that the challenge for them is to explain why reality is knowable, why it's worth knowing, right? So the meaning of science and the conditions of possibility for science are things that are outside the scope of the scientific method, and they force you into this terrain where you don't really have any bearings. And so I think faith gives us a way through that, but also historically has just been the motivation for knowing the world, and not just in Christianity, but even Islam and other traditions, has been a sort of divine injunction to know reality, and convictions that come out of the certainty that reality is knowable and meant to be known. I think it's unfortunate that in a lot of religious settings, science and questioning has not been taken seriously, but has been discredited. A lot of scientists that I've studied, they don't become atheists or non-religious because of science. They become atheists or non-religious because of religion, because their faith communities did not nurture the questions that they had, that they were not treated with respect, that they were shut down. And so I think we need to, as people of faith, learn how to live out this conviction that our questions, our doubts, all of this is good, and that we should have a certainty that that truth is one, whether it's scientific truth or religious truth. And if we can't see how those things fit together, then that's part of what we got to wrestle with. We need to learn to be creative and think through it and seek for those answers rather than shut people down, because that's really what's causing a lot of the divides.